What's one secret that would ruin everything if your family and friends found out? I had a baby with my sister's boyfriend, now husband. I, 29-year-old female, had a baby with my sister's 34-year-old boyfriend, now husband. I was at an family event. My sister was invited and she had brought her boyfriend to show him to our family. I saw him and fell in love with him that day, and later that evening I got into a fight with my sister. I can't even remember what it was about now. I got really drunk as to drink away my problems. I wanted to get back at my sister, so I went looking and I saw my sister's boyfriend and came onto him. He accepted and I took him to my room and we did it. My sister came looking for her boyfriend a while later and I heard her calling his name while he was still in my room. Luckily he got changed quickly and met her. The next day he said we can't do that ever again, so we never did. Around 2 weeks later I started feeling sick in the morning and was vomiting. I went to the pharmacy and the person there said I might be pregnant and should take a test. I refused to believe I was pregnant, but they said I should check just in case, so I took a pregnancy test and it came back positive. I was shocked and I was crying. I was only 20 at the time, and what was even worse was that it had to my sister's boyfriend, since I hadn't done it with anyone else for a while, and I debated whether I should tell him or not. In the end I decided not to. After 8 months I had my baby Cora. She is the light in my life right now and I love her. She always used to ask who her dad is, and I just would tell her that her dad is away at work and that he loves her so much. My sister's boyfriend did pull me aside and asked if it's his. I lied and said that it wasn't his, it was someone else's. I lied because I didn't want my sister's relationship to end because of my mistake. I still haven't told anyone, and a few years later my sister got married to him. It is so hard to keep the secret in, as whenever I see my sister playing with Cora I feel guilty, and whenever Cora asks about her dad I always want to say who her dad is, but I know that would be bad for everyone.
What's the trashiest wedding you've been to? My friend group and I talk about this wedding to this day, and probably will for the rest of our lives. The bride and groom decided to do things on a very, very small budget. That's fine. Frugal weddings and budget weddings can be beautiful and nice. There is a difference between a frugal wedding and a cheap wedding, however, and this was cheap. For instance, the wedding was in July. They decided to hold it in a non-air-conditioned park shelter. The decorations were actual trash. The bride decided me and the other bridesmaids needed tiny top hats, which she made from discarded styrofoam cups. Mine had ants in it. She asked me to be the maid of honor. I was flattered but confused. She'd had 3 mows before me, and they all quit for various reasons, mostly baby daddy drama related. She wanted live music but wouldn't pay a pianist. My friend Steven's sister said she'd play the wedding march on a keyboard for $50. Said sister couldn't actually play the piano, but she did the pre-recorded wedding march song. Nobody could tell the difference because the woman in charge of baking the cake got shit-faced the day before, and was baking the cake in the non-air-conditioned park shelter's little kitchen while listening to the radio, very loudly. The bride and groom tried to write their own vows, got in a fight over it, and didn't tell the officiant until the day of that there were no vows. Fortunately, he was on it and had backup vows ready to go. The bride hadn't tried on her dress, which she'd bought from AliExpress, until the day of. It was way too small and we had to rip out the back and safety pin in some satiny white fabric, which would have been great if the dress hadn't been off-white. The groom made comments and it turned out that the whole dress thing was based on his mom offering to pay for the dress, then rescinding because she had to bail out his brother. My friend, instead of going to an actual store and buying a dress, picked one off of AliExpress. This would have been less weird if I hadn't been dress shopping with her like 3 times because her mom wouldn't pick out a mother of the bride dress. The groom's entire family, including his best man and his 2 groomsmen, left right after the meal. Spaghetti, green beans, and McDonald's orange drink was served. The DJ, my friend Steven, and his Bose speakers, didn't know this and tried to announce the groom's dance with his mom. His mom had left. Apparently his family was furious that it was a dry venue. The only member of the family left was the ring bearer, who it turns out was forgotten. We had to take him home because his family wouldn't come get him. The groom slept through the rehearsal and showed up to the wedding drunk. We had to put another friend on bouncer duty because 2 of the bride's aunts tried to walk away with the cash envelope. We gave him the envelope because he was the tallest and we figured he could outrun the aunts. The bride's brother was originally on envelope duty, but we caught him taking a 50 out of the envelope, so we had to take it from him. We had to politely inform the best man he couldn't smoke in the porta-john. We had porta-johns instead of actual working bathrooms. The worst, though, was the photographer. As Mo, I was informed day of that I had to keep the photographer 100 feet away from the ring bearer and flower girls at all times. He was a registered sex offender, but also the bride's uncle, and he volunteered to do the pictures for free, so he ended up using a telephoto lens, because he couldn't get close enough to the wedding party to take the pictures. They divorced a couple months later after the house they were staying in burned to the ground. I have no idea to this day why they even got married.
Men. What moment made you? I am filing for a divorce. 15 years in. And I find texts on her phone. Completely blindsided. No clue she had it in her to cheat. Told me it was just texting. Begged for forgiveness. I caved. Then I found emails. She detailed things that made me sick to read. Then I found out she was visiting nurse service. And this guy was a client. Promised she was done. Loved me. You see. No chance she was going to let 15 years go like that. I wasn't buying it anymore though. She announced she was going out one night with a work friend. Promised she'd be home by night. She wasn't bright enough to understand that Google Latitude was still showing me where she was. Once I knew where she had headed, I called her dad and my best friend to keep me from doing anything dumb. My father-in-law offered to stay with the kids and wait for her to get home. Around 3 a.m. She sent me a nasty text asking where the fuck I thought I was. I texted her a screenshot of her little GPS dot and let her know I'd be sending her some paperwork soon.